This video is going to cover a little tutorial on how to draw isometric sketches. So from activity 2.1, specifically looking at number 3A. So as far as looking at how to start an isometric sketch, the things that I consider are, first getting a glass box established. So there's a lot of discussion in PowerPoints and the technique on a glass box. And the easiest thing to start with is to kind of look at what's the overall height, width, and depth that this part creates. So the width runs along the x-axis. The x-axis is kind of turned. So getting students used to knowing which is the x-axis, here's the z-axis as it runs from front to back. Y-axis is the only one that's not turned, and it's running up and down. So here I'm going to look at, by counting the grid squares, let's get the width. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's just kind of looking at each one of these dimensions is the easiest one to do. And down here on my grid, pick a starting point, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to lay out 2 points there to kind of help me. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a line. So between them. So light construction line to help me out. I'm going to go ahead and put in like what is the height. So the height of this from this corner here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a point, draw a line in, and the same thing from this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So connect them. So there would be your front face of your box. And now I'm going to start looking at the depth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the depth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So make sure you're using the intersections. So same kind of scenario here. So I'm going to draw back on the depth. So the isometric will have 3 points, which it extends its depth off of. I'm drawing a little bit darker. I can connect them here in the back. And there would go through and get my glass box for this particular object. From here, I'm going to identify what if I put this object inside of this box, which faces would touch, or touch the outside edges of the box. One I'm going to see, the biggest one is the front view, this kind of L shape. So if I come in by 2 grid squares, and then I'm going to end up having it's going to come down till it's about 2 grid squares off the top, and I'm going to see this L-shaped face come in. And when I get the face that I want, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to darken out the edges with some object lines. That way they stand up off of the object. As I start looking at other faces, I got one right here that'll touch on the top. So it comes back 1 in depth, and then it has a width of 2. I'm going to have the same thing on the opposite edge from where this one was drawn in. Same measurements. And then I'm going to have these 2 faces here on the outside edges. So they're 2 in depth and 2 in height. So I'm going to go ahead and draw them in. And as far as faces that touch the outside of the box, that's going to be pretty much it. So from here, it's a matter of just kind of finding where I need to start making connections. So from here, I can break this down line by line. So going from this corner, I'm going to come back 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mark a point. Draw my line in. Comes over 1 in depth. And then it's going to make a connection with this corner. So again, it's just a matter of connecting the dots. I do have one little line here to showcase that. And then this line is going to come back 5 grid squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, this line is going to connect. This is going to go straight up till it touches here. And then this has this little pattern here, so I'm going to come down 1, come over 3, come down or come back up to 1. And then as I look from this corner, this comes down 1 and extends along the z-axis till it hits the next line. And then I got a line right here that signifies the corner. And this will finish out the object other than adding some tonal shading. So tonal shading, as far as this goes, front face is always the largest one that's facing out this direction. So I would need to go ahead and put shading. And typically I usually like to try to cross hatch this just a little bit to increase the contrast. So the front face will be the darkest one, tops will stay white, top faces, and then this one will have a little bit of shade since it's a front face, just to kind of signify that there. Side views, faces that show off to the right side will end up having just a little bit of shading there. And then this inside face will be just a little bit darker. And there we will end up having our shaded object for number 3A on activity 2.1. So glass box outline stays, do not erase points and construction lines, and this will finish out the drawing for it.